This is to all of my fathers out there. When it comes to our sons, we have to fully take the reins. Throughout my 20 years in my chosen field, I've noticed that a majority of the Black inmates have went through their entire lives without their actual fathers being a part of their lives. And it can be for many legitimate reasons. For example, the father could have passed away or the father may be serving time in prison. You also have many circumstances where the child's mother makes it her business to prevent fathers from even communicating with their sons. Or worse of all, the father may just be a piece of shit and just doesn't give a damn about anyone outside of themselves, which is disgusting in itself. But in the grand scheme of things, whatever reason that you may have doesn't even matter. In these situations, the reason doesn't matter whatsoever. The simple fact that you're not present is the only thing that matters. Throughout my career as a correctional officer, it became extremely easy for me to figure out which inmate has actually had a father that was active or even just present in their life. And not only that, it became even easier for me to immediately spot which inmate has been strictly raised by their mothers or just any woman, period. I know that sounds horrible, but it's the honest truth. For instance, when it comes to communicating, obviously no one man is sent to prison for being a Boy Scout, but part of the rehabilitation process of prison is holding these men accountable for the simple prison rules and guidelines, making sure that you're at least smart enough to follow the prison laws, aka prison rules and regulations. At least having enough sense to abide by the laws when you're in an environment where you're constantly in the presence of police, in this case, correctional officers. Because let's be real, if you can't follow the simple laws in that controlled environment, should we believe that you're going to be released from prison and then magically become a law-abiding citizen? Sounds silly, doesn't it? Now, let me get back on track. When it comes to simple communication, for instance, something simple as telling an inmate to tuck his shirt in, pull your pants up, take your hat off in the housing unit, basic things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but regardless, it's still the rules. Then you have things that are supposed to help them become more productive and responsible when they're finally released from prison, such as there's a 10-minute controlled movement at the top of every hour, not 11 minutes or 12 minutes, you 10 minutes. This happens every single day, meaning you know that every single day that this is how things are going to go. So as an adult male who is basically being trained on being punctual, responsible, and holding yourself accountable when it comes to being wherever that you need to be at a specific time, you have no excuse not to be where you're supposed to be at that assigned specific time, to hammer that point in because it's important to master this. When you fail to meet that simple requirement, there's repercussions that follow when you choose not to meet the requirement. So, as men, when failed to meet the requirements, we take responsibility, own it, and accept whatever repercussions that follow as a result, or at least that should be the response. Young boys that have no father in their lives growing up seem to have a difficult time taking responsibility for their failures of meeting the requirements. There's always an excuse. It's never their fault for failing. But that's not all. We all make mistakes or bad decisions regardless of whether you were raised by a man or woman. But these men find it extremely difficult to take constructive criticism. For some reason, it makes them angry, like someone is testing their manhood. Well, let me rephrase that. It only makes them angry when it's another man that's delivering the constructive criticism. Unfortunately, when it's a man trying to direct them, it's normally met with eye rolling, teeth sucking, neck movements, and her finger snapping. Unfortunately, it's also met with extreme violence. But again, that's only when a male officer is trying to correct them. On the other hand, when a female officer is correcting them, even if it is in the most disgusting and disrespectful way, their response is the exact opposite. Their response is normally extremely humble. And why do you think that is? Is it because throughout their entire lives, all they knew how to do is being directed by women, being directed by their mothers, because the way that they respond to the female officers is normally the best way, the way that will prevent them from getting into deeper trouble. Now, to wrap this video up, I want to explain why I use this video clip of the male cheerleader coach and the one male cheerleader who are, to be honest, putting the female cheerleaders to shame. as a good or bad thing. That's not the point of the video. The point of this video is to show what little boys do when their father isn't there to fully take the reins and lead them. The result of that is them mimicking whoever they see on a regular basis, which most likely their mothers, which in this case isn't necessarily physically hurting anyone, but they won't only mimic the way mom walks, talks, or dances. They'll also mimic the woman's mindset. We know that when it comes to adult women, in general, society doesn't hold them accountable for any of their actions. As a result, when a little boy grows up only witnessing mom, more importantly, mom's actions, for example, how mom may respond to someone that simply says something that offends. We all know that in those situations, when someone says something that's offensive, mom most likely responds with extreme violence. Or she responds in some form of extreme aggression. Even when it comes to women dealing with police, we've all witnessed many women disrespectfully says the first disgusting thing that comes in their minds when confronting police. They say, and do things that as men will end with us in handcuffs. Well, that's if we're lucky. In most cases today, we'll end up 6 feet deep. So as men, and more importantly, fathers, and don't allow the media along with society fool you into believing that your presence in your son's life isn't important. Your actual presence in your son's life can be the difference between life and death, and even the difference between success and failure. And most importantly, it isn't just about your presence alone. Your son needs to witness your actions so that he can see what a real man and father is supposed to do. Keep your sons close. Up.